Have you ever noticed that not every country in the European Union uses the euro? Maybe you've traveled to Europe and were surprised that in some places you could pay with euros, but just a few hours away you had to switch to a completely different currency? Why does this happen? Why do some EU countries like Poland, Hungary, or the Czech Republic still use their own money, while others like France, Germany, or Italy have fully embraced the euro? It's one of the most misunderstood aspects of the European Union, and it opens a window into how economics, history, politics, and even national identity collide in modern Europe. Let's take Poland as a case study, because Poland is often held up as the next in line for euro adoption. It's the largest economy in Central and Eastern Europe, a rising power within the EU, and a country that has benefited enormously from integration into the European single market. Yet Poland has not adopted the euro. It still uses the Zloty, a currency that predates both world wars and holds deep historical meaning for the Polish people. Now, legally, Poland is required to adopt the euro eventually. That was part of the deal when it joined the European Union back in 2004. But here's the twist. There's no fixed timeline. No one can force Poland or any other country to give up its currency until they decide the time is right. So why the delay? At first glance, the reasons might seem purely technical. The EU has a strict set of rules called the Maastricht criteria that countries must meet before they can adopt the euro. These include low inflation, budget discipline, exchange rate stability, and interest rate alignment. On paper, Poland has struggled with a few of these, particularly inflation and participation in the exchange rate mechanism, also known as ERM2. This mechanism is like a waiting room for euro adoption, where countries must show that their currency can remain stable in relation to the euro for at least 2 years. Poland has never entered that phase. But the story is much deeper than numbers. Poland and several other EU countries are reluctant to give up their monetary sovereignty. When you adopt the euro, you give up control over your national central bank's power to set interest rates, manage currency fluctuations, and respond quickly to economic crises. That power transfers to the European Central Bank, which manages monetary policy for all Eurozone members, from Germany to Greece. And let's be honest, countries like Poland have good reasons to be cautious. Just look at the Eurozone crisis that hit Southern Europe a little over a decade ago. Greece, Spain, Portugal, and Italy were all part of the Eurozone, and when the financial crisis struck, their economies were hit hard. But unlike countries with their own currencies, they couldn't devalue to make exports more competitive or set interest rates to stimulate recovery. They were locked into a one-size-fits-all monetary system that prioritized low inflation and fiscal discipline, often at the cost of growth and employment. These weren't just economic issues. They became deeply political, with protests, unemployment, austerity, and disillusionment with the EU growing across the region. Countries watching from the outside, like Poland, took note. For them, the euro wasn't just a symbol of European unity, it was also a warning. And then there's the issue of public opinion. In Poland, surveys have consistently shown that a majority of the population is skeptical of adopting the euro. People fear rising prices, something that happened in many countries after the switch, even if official inflation data didn't always capture it. In everyday life, many people felt that groceries, restaurants, and services all became more expensive. That fear lingers. And in a country where many families are just now building wealth after decades of hardship under communism, the idea of losing control over the national currency can feel like a step backward. But this isn't just a Polish story. Across Europe, other countries are also hesitating. The Czech Republic still uses the koruna. Hungary has kept the forint. Sweden continues to use the koruna, and Denmark, although it has a formal opt-out, still uses the krone, despite being tightly pegged to the euro. Each of these countries has its own political and economic reasoning. In Sweden, for example, a national referendum rejected euro adoption. In Hungary, nationalist politics play a strong role in resisting further EU integration. In Denmark, the public prefers keeping a sense of control, even while maintaining a close link to Euro policy. So what does the euro really represent in this context? For some countries, it symbolizes deep integration, economic efficiency, and a stronger collective voice in the world. For others, it's a loss of autonomy, a bureaucratic straitjacket, and a potential economic risk. What's fascinating is how countries walk a fine line enjoying the benefits of the EU's single market, free movement, and funding mechanisms, while carefully holding on to the independence of their own currency. This is especially true in Central and Eastern Europe, where history has left deep scars. These countries fought hard to regain their sovereignty in the 20th century. Giving up the national currency isn't just about economics. It touches on questions of identity, pride, and control. But here's the big question. Will countries like Poland ever adopt the euro? The answer is probably. Eventually, the legal obligation remains, and the EU's long-term goal is for all member states, except those with official opt-outs, to join the Eurozone. But it will depend on political will, economic conditions, and most importantly, public trust. If the Eurozone continues to stabilize, and if people believe that adopting the euro will make life better, not worse, we may see more countries take the plunge. But as of now, many are taking the cautious route. And from their perspective, in the meantime, Poland's Zloty continues to function well. The country has a strong, diversified economy, robust exports, and a growing middle class. Being outside the Eurozone has allowed it to manage inflation, interest rates, and external shocks more flexibly. And politically, it remains a symbol of national strength and control, especially for governments that lean toward protecting sovereignty over integration. At the same time, the euro continues to evolve. It remains one of the world's most powerful currencies, second only to the US dollar. It facilitates trade, travel, and business across much of Europe. And for many countries, especially smaller or more vulnerable economies, being inside the Eurozone offers a sense of protection and belonging. It's a complex trade-off, and there's no one-size-fits-all answer. So the next time you hear someone ask, why hasn't Poland adopted the euro, you'll know that the answer is far more layered than just economic criteria. It's about history, identity, politics, risk, and choice. It's a reminder that even in a united Europe, the paths countries take are shaped by deeply rooted national experiences. Thanks for watching Immigrant Paths, where we explore the hidden layers of borders, identity, and belonging in a globalized world. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss future deep dives into the stories that shape our international landscape. Whether it's currency, citizenship, or migration, every country has its own path. Let's explore them together.